Welcome back to the Alter Ego Bros. I'm Andy, that's Nick, and today we're going to be reviewing Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. So, without telling you my score right away, I didn't write a whole lot of notes on this one. I wrote a couple notes in the beginning, and then I just sat back and relaxed.
Surprise, motherfucker!
And just enjoyed watching this movie. Now, I'm a sucker for rom-coms, so I might be a little bit biased there. But I have no problem telling you that this is easily a 10 out of 10 movie. I said it. What do you think about it, Nick?
So I also really enjoyed this movie, and I thought for a rom-com, this was really fun. I gave it a 10 out of 10. I really liked this movie a lot. It was just so good. It was really fun. The premise was so fun. The actors together, as soon as you see them lock eyes on screen, it was magnetic. They were just in there together. It hit the ground running. We didn't need to see anything that happened before the day started on there. It's also very Wes Anderson-y of a movie without being like a complete ripoff. There are just some moments and some style choices that were made that just made me go, that reminds me of Wes Anderson. I like that. From the doors to the technology in the car that they called the GPS, but wasn't really a GPS. And then some of the comedy moments and bits that they had in there were just so fun.
I mentioned this in my Out of Review video over on our TikTok, that I didn't realize Colin Ferrell and Margot Robbie were the Hollywood couple that we needed in a rom-com. Their chemistry together just made it look like they were married in real life. I would be convinced if you told me that. And I was super excited to see them going into this one because I just had a feeling like something here makes sense. And it did. And that paid off really well too. So the acting was phenomenal throughout this entire film. When it comes to the story, it's one of those stories where they hint you things in the beginning that you might not notice right away because they just kind of bypass it a little bit. But then in the end has a big payoff and it makes you go, oh my God, yes. And it's so satisfying. Despite them having all these segments and these moments where you could chop it up very much how like him does, the whole story is cohesive. With that said, you could be critical in the fact that at the end of the day, this is a basic Hallmark storyline where you have two people who are unlikely to meet, end up actually meeting, start to fall in love a little bit, and then something happens, it breaks them apart, but then they end up back together again, and it's a nice happy ending. But the way the story is told is very creative, it's very artistic, it's incredibly beautiful, and couldn't have been portrayed any better.
This movie does a really great job of showing you everything that's happening rather than just telling you. It would be really easy for them to sit in a car and then just have dialogue back and forth about, oh, this happened to me, that really sucks, blah, 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 and just back and forth where the acting really takes the front seat. However, you get to these doors and it shows you everything that's going on. It's almost in like not so much a time travel way, but in like a weird dream kind of way where they can alter the versions of reality in there in order to cope with the events that happen. And it was just a really engaging way to tell this story and make it less monotonous and less of a rom-com roadmap. Like you said, it still has that same structure, but the journey that you take, the big, bold, beautiful journey that you take is just that. It's about real connection, loving people despite their flaws, and working through your own feelings in order to be able to be open and honest with other people and the freedom that comes with that. It's just overall a really cute, fun, positive movie, and I left feeling that way. It was great.
There is a clear direction in this entire movie. It's obvious when you have a fantastic director, when you notice things like the music has a very specific timing to something where it cuts out for a moment and then joins back in. That's communication between the composer who wrote the music and the director to make sure that's lined up. That's also communication with the actors to make sure when they're acting in a certain way and a certain timing to make sure that all lines up as well too. That's making sure that the person who has the camera is making sure they're filming at this angle and they move it to here in that exact moment. That's a lot of communication going on. You see it from the set design. You see it from all of the aspects that make a 10 out of 10 movie a 10 out of 10 movie. So I just want to just make sure that when you go see movies, consider those aspects and just start to pay attention to some of those different little things that pass by. You don't really necessarily notice it, but just notice like how much attention to detail and care has to go in and how many people have to be involved for that little thing to happen. But don't just take my word for it or Nick's word for it, because we're just two regular dudes. Or are we? Let's look at some people's reviews online to really stack up our review compared to what others have to say. So we're just going to pull up some random reviews online. We're going to look for 10 out of 10s and 1 out of 10s and just find the extremes and just see how we react to that. Okay, this post seems to be anonymous, but it's the first one I clicked on, so we have to go with it. I'm glad I didn't listen to the negative reviews. I didn't know there were negative reviews, and went to the movies. It's a beautiful story that takes you to moments of the main characters' lives that shaped them into who they are today. No big twist, just a lovely journey through their past. If you're a sensible person, it's definitely worth it. I agree, anonymous person. I mean, I think that wraps it up perfectly. What do you think?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's nail on the head right there.
If you disagree, you're not sensible, just so you know.
That's how the world works these days.
So here's a 1 out of 10 from Josh Gen X. Here we go. Gen X reporting in. Oh, he reviews a lot, I guess. Had a few hours to waste, so I went to check out this new romance movie that looked charming from the preview. This movie was some artsy-fartsy fantasy that made no sense. The writing was atrocious, the acting not believable, the actress was pretty hot, so it had that going. Colin, whoever was acting like a wuss bag, there was a full commercial for Burger King in it. No, seriously. I walked out at the 45-minute mark. Hard pass for men, women, children, romantics, lonely old grandpas, and everyone else. Skip it.
All right.
Wow.
Gen X Jeff is speaking for all of those people.
Not grandmas, though.
Not-
Or
Can't do grandmas. Grandmas go see it.
If you didn't watch the full movie, you can't leave a review. That's my opinion. And so I get that you didn't like it, but it's just like you're making all these comments and you didn't actually watch the movie. Like 45 minutes, you didn't even make it halfway through. Secondly, I feel like this is just rage clickbait. This is absolutely outrageous. Like the story didn't make sense. You made that up. There's no way. Like you have to be pretty nonsensible to not understand that.
Why would you go to this movie then? You clearly knew you weren't going to like it off the bat, but you chose to go and spend money and make yourself upset, and then to write on IMDb about how upset you were about this.
Let's look at a 1 star, or a half a star, I guess, on Rotten Tomatoes. Here's one from Shay. So everyone in the theater left before the movie was half over. She went with Johnny Be Good over here. What was his name?
Jeff, Gen X Jeff.
Everyone in the theater left before.
We gotta find Gen X Jeff's reviews, and we gotta equal out. That's gotta be what it is.
It says, painfully slow and boring. I love Margot Robbie. Completely disappointed. That's okay. So first of all, I think we have a new movie that we have to make, a new romance movie between Johnny and Shay, because they're on the same page. Hated everything. Loved Margot Robbie, though.
Maybe they would have liked it if they went to see it together.
Maybe they're the two unlikely people that are going to end up together.
They're the unlikely couple. They're just kind of lonely, I think. Shay's definitely lonely if the whole theater walked out. By the way, I've never ever seen a whole theater walk out of anything, unless it was like the wrong movie.
There's nothing to talk about there. Like, that just seems like it's rage baity, it's made up. Maybe it's AI generated for all we know. It's just people review bombing for no reason because people like to do that. So let's go ahead and look at some actual Metacritics and get some professionals' point of views here. Okay, so I found the highest score on Metacritic, which is a 75 out of 100. So it's a 7.5 out of 10. That's the highest score that the Metacritic gave it. Kogonada, which is the director, and I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. Kogonada delightfully exploits the simple joy of beautiful people falling in love on screen. He deploys his trademark empathy as a means of encouragement. Go with it. Be open, and maybe this will make you feel something lovely if you let it. I like that. That's a great way to put it, because that's how I reviewed it. Again, like no notes. So I just sat back and just watched it and just enjoyed it. So I completely agree with Connor here. What do you think?
Being open and just ready to enjoy the ride is kind of essential for movie watching in general. So if you're like Jeff and you're getting on a ride you don't really want to get on, maybe you should double think before paying for that ride.
I almost think you should double think life at that point, but that's just me. Holy cow, what in the world? The lowest score in the Metacritic is a 0 out of 100. God. In the pantheon of films about magical cars, this one is not big, bold, or beautiful. It's not a magical car, okay? Just technical. All right, technicality here.
It's a GPS.
It's a GPS, okay.
It's saying, like, you know, cars that have special powers, like Back to the Future, the DeLorean. I don't know what point they're trying to make.
I think they went to the wrong fucking movie, man. Like, what, you thought this was, like, focused on the magical car aspect, or what? Like,
was that the full quote, too, or?
Yeah, that's all he said. So, 0 out of 100.
0 out of, that's, no. Like,
how do you give a movie I will show you some real shit movies. We should do a video on that, and it will blow your mind if you think that that's a 0.
Right.
There's an ulterior motive behind a score like that to a movie like this.
I think even the lowest that our current rating systems go, there's no way that a movie would meet all the criteria to make a 0 ever. Like, you're just saying nobody gave a shit about it, and it might as well be just some, I don't know, flip phone camera movie off the street, just going up to the guy
it's
and being
equivalent
like, hey!
to that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's not true at all.
So I think these 0 scores are really almost underwhelming because of just how fake it actually seems. Now, maybe that's the real opinion, but that just seems a bit fake. So we're going to find something in the middle here in the Metacritic just to give us a little bit of something here. So here's a 50 out of 100 from Rodrigo Perez from The Playlist. He said, the film rests squarely on Ferrell and Robbie. They have chemistry and a guiding hand in Kogonada, but ultimately, a big, bold, beautiful journey is undone by a syrupy, over-romanticized screenplay, untempered by the director's unusual delicacy and restraint.
So they thought that Margot Robbie and Colin Ferrell carried the team. They are the 2 leads in a movie that basically just has the 2 leads. I'm struggling to figure out where they think it fell apart.
I think they just don't like Hallmark films, and that's fair. Like, if you're not really into rom-coms, this can be a little over-romanticized to you, and I could get that, and so maybe they just don't like rom-coms. But here's the way we review things. Like, even if we didn't like rom-coms, there are a lot of movies that we review that I don't like, but I can still give it a good score because, critically speaking, just because I don't like that style of movie doesn't mean that as a rom-com, it's a bad rom-com. That's not being actually critical. I would say that this is an unfair judgment, and this is more personal than it is professional.
I think critics put in too much effort or too much weight that their personal opinions are the opinions. When you have to balance the creative versus the technical. Technically, there's a lot of people doing their jobs and doing it very well on movies that might stink. So you can't give it a technical score. Oh, so that was bad because the writing was bad. That doesn't make sense at all. You can score everything individually. You can weigh it to personal preference, but there's still going to be positive scores in areas no matter what you do.
So let's combine these scores and compare it to our score. So our score is obviously a 10 out of 10. You see both scores, and now it is on our tier list as a 10 out of 10. I'm so okay with that. But if we look at the general audience score and we combine the ones that we've just seen online and get an average of that, it looks like the general audience is putting this at a 6 out of 10, and critics are actually a 4 out of 10. So we're a bit off from what other people are thinking about this. So with that, I just want to thank you guys for liking and subscribing. Let us know what you think about reacting to some of these reviews. It's kind of a new thing we're doing. I kind of enjoy seeing what people are talking about because normally we ignore that aspect to not be so biased, but to do it afterwards, it's kind of fun. I like it. Let us know if you like it too. And remember, we're just two regular dudes
doing regular reviews. I agree. I think it's just a bunch of people not. Sorry.
No,
I thought you were waiting
Go
for
ahead.
me to say something. I agree. I think it's just.
I was waiting, but then I waited. I didn't wait long enough.
As you did there.
Welcome back to the Alter Ego Bros. I'm Andy. Jesus, you hit your mic.
Bah!